Hello everyone, and welcome to our analysis of Shinya Tsukamoto's Tetsuo the Iron Man.
Before we descend into Tsukamoto's disturbing yet beautiful world, we must know who he is as a filmmaker. And to do this, I'll introduce you to my friend.
How are you?
I am fine, but please continue. We don't have a lot of time.
Okay. Shinya Tsukamoto is a Japanese filmmaker who rose to international prominence with his 1989 film Tetsuo the Iron Man, which after being shown in the Fanta Festival in Rome on the very same year became an underground cult hit with audience and critics alike. Tsukamoto's interest in creating film began from the age of 14 when his father gave him a Super 8 camera. So from that age till his first year at college, he made numerous amateur films ranging from 10-minute shorts to 2-hour long features. He stated that his cinematic influence were works of David Lynch and David Cronenberg, which can be easily felt while watching Tetsuo and witnessing the nightmarish visuals and the love for body horror. But the interesting thing about his inspirations is that Tsukamoto have stated a lot of time that while growing up, he looked up to legendary filmmaker Akira Kurosawa, who had heavily inspired him more than any of the filmmaker he had ever seen, even though Kurosawa's style is totally polar opposite to his own style. Unfortunately, during his first year at college, he temporarily lost interest in filmmaking, but he still kept his involvement in art alive and started a theatre group which included his future Tetsuo the Iron Man collaborators such as Kei Fujiwara, Nobu Kanaoko, and Tomorowo Taguchi. This was also the time Tsukamoto used the set that they had made for a play to shoot his earliest film, The Phantom of a Regular Size, in 1986, which was basically a prototype for Tetsuo the Iron Man. Hey, they're looking at you.
Oh. Don't mind me. This is just a silly hobby of mine. So let's move on to the esoteric film techniques.
The filmmaking of Tetsuo took over 18 months, and it was a really harsh process because of the film's low budget and Tsukamoto's strange vision, so much so that at the end of the filmmaking process most of the crew quit, and only Tsukamoto and the actors were left, who were already filling in for multiple tasks at this point. Tsukamoto used a 16mm camera for the first time to shoot this film, which was an upgrade from his previous films which he shot with Super 8 cameras. Cinematography was done by Tsukamoto and Kei Fujiwara, both of whom played major characters in the film. This style had a dreamlike quality to it, as if the camera itself was floating in the air. Most of the metallic props used in the film were collected by Tsukamoto and the other members of the film crew from a scrapyard, as they couldn't afford enough money to buy them. Not only this, parts from discarded TVs were taped onto the actor's skin during the transformation scenes. The film was shot in black and white, and had an expressionist lighting just like the German expressionism films of the early 20th century. Stop-motion animation was also used for special effects, and all of this wasn't only done to give the film its trashcore surreal aesthetics, but it also served the story of the film, which may appear to be totally absurd, but it does contain a really engaging and interesting plotline. The film tells the story of an average Japanese man who kills a guy who was a metal fetishist in a car accident and dumps his body somewhere with the help of his girlfriend. Soon he begins to get tormented by dreams and hallucinations of metals and industrial machines, and slowly descends into madness and paranoia as his own body morphs into a grotesque metallic creature, all of which culminates into an epic battle between the fully transformed metal fetishist and the Japanese salaryman. At the end, they both get combined, transform into a large amorphous metallic being.
He is acting a little bit weird, but we must carry on. So now, let's talk about the story. Because of the nature of storytelling in Tetsuo the Iron Man, there are many interpretations of the film, but the one which is the most prominent is the exploration of body horror and the fusion between man and technology. Body horror is a subgenre of horror which focuses on destruction, dehumanization, and transformation of human bodies. Tetsuo exemplifies this by showing us how the main character in the film, the Japanese salaryman, slowly transforms into a hideous metallic creature. This is also where the idea of fusion between man and technology comes into play. As technological innovation keeps on evolving, people in real life have started to transform their own bodies by placing different kind of technological apparatus, which is also called transhumanism. Tetsuo the Iron Man shows a dark side of this human achievement by presenting us horrid visuals of a man who has become one with technology and became a husk of his former self, losing his humanity to technology. This film is also an early example of Japanese cyberpunk, which is different from cyberpunk which is shown in Hollywood, as it focuses on impact of technology on society, whereas Japanese cyberpunk focuses on how technology affects people, especially their bodies. Another major theme in the film is what most of the fans of the film agree that this film portrays flawlessly, that is, the sense of anxiety. Just by looking at the visuals, the stop motion sequences, and almost everything, you get dizzy, you get flustered. You first don't understand what is going on in front of your eyes, then suddenly you are bombarded with horrifying imagery, which all culminates in a sense of extreme anxiety coming at you from every direction. The anxiety that this film portrays can be the anxiety Tsukamoto felt when he told his father he wanted to pursue a career in arts and his father didn't support his decision. It can also portray anxiety from the work pressure that might have made the salaryman its victim, or can even come from a failing relationship, just like the relationship between the girlfriend and the salaryman. This can even be the anxiety of human nature. Tetsuo the Iron Man is a strange film that is loved by the fans of underground and cult cinema, and also inspired prominent directors such as Quentin Tarantino, David Fincher, and Martin Scorsese. This film is an achievement in the independent cinema scene and keeps inspiring new filmmakers. When Tsukamoto made this film, his father said to him that he was a failure. Little did he know that he would later become one of the most famous and celebrated independent filmmaker in the history of cinema.